I'm going to request all of I'm going to request us to introduce ourselves in the chat room. Tell us your name, what you're doing, where you're logging in from, and what are your expectations for the webinar. Also, feel free to chat yourself away in the chat room and ask any question in the Q&A session. So to start us off, I would love to remind us all about the MTN Youth Skilling Program, which focuses on the 5 thematic areas of health, youth empowerment, agriculture, technology, and education. And that is why we are here. We are going to focus on youth empowerment. I'm going to introduce myself. I am Kaguya Melan Patience, the Vice President of the MTN Youth Skilling Program Alumni. I'm passionate about youth empowerment. I love seeing young people take charge of their lives by taking action to transform their consciousness through their values, beliefs, and attitudes. And that is why we are having this topic, because it is close to my heart. We all must be wondering what the topic is about. So let me bring it on. Today's topic is about tracking the impact of youth skilling programs in Uganda. We are aware there are many youth programs running, and they're doing a great job of impacting a great deal of skills and knowledge to the youth, which brings us to the big question of today. Yes, they are doing so, but are they able to track the impact of those skills? And if so, how are they doing it? Because it makes no sense if there are many programs running these things and impacting the skills, but then people are just sitting on their skills. So without wasting time, allow me introduce the one and only, Mr. Seito, Mr. Nyombi from MYSP System. He's going to give us the opening remarks and more insights about today. You're welcome, Mr. Igomire.
Thank you, Melanie. I did not know that as Mr. Seito until now, but I think I will add that to my CV. I thank you for kicking us off so well. I'm sure we trusted this webinar in the right hands of the right moderator, and they're going to do a very good job. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sylvester Egumire Nyombi. I am the Brand and Communications Manager at MYSP Systems, the lead implementer on the MTN Youth Skilling Program. I have interacted with a few of you. You've been seeing my messages in the chats. You've been seeing a few things I've been posting along the way. So yeah, I'm sure some of you have also seen my face from graduation. So I'm happy to be here again. Today, we have a very interesting topic and one that is very critical as well. We are talking about tracking the impact of youth skilling programs, as Melanie has brought it up. So as you may know, every youth skilling program in this country provides a certain element or amount of skill that's beneficial for you in your work or in your business or in your personal life. This could stretch to things like soft skills, listening skills, being a good public speaker, but it can also include technical skills like you got in the training. It can also include business and networking skills and a wide range of others. However, we cannot doubt the benefit of these skills, but the only difference is, can we be able to track? There is no way anyone can come up and say, I attended the MTN Youth Skilling Program and I did not learn anything that has helped me in my business. But the question today is asking, how do you measure how much of that help you've got? We are not saying you have become better at branding. We are wondering, how can you measure if you're becoming better at branding? How can you know that you are becoming better at human resource management? How can you know that you're doing business better now as a result of the skilling program and the skills you got from it? Our speakers today, the panelists who are also members and participants of the program, will be sharing some experiences and sharing some lessons to show and demonstrate how you can track so that the impact that the program created in your life and business is measurable. You will be hearing also from our keynote speaker, Mr. Edmund Walusimbi, as you'll see him along the way. And there is a lot to learn. I believe if we all pay the attention and treat this as importantly as it is, we shall have a lot of value to add to our skills. We shall be able to track them. We shall be able to see the impact they've created in us, instead of just carrying on with life and saying, you know, the program made me better, the program made my business better. Now you'll be able to have actual figures, actual numbers, actual processes that can help you know that this program is improving your life, improving your business, and improving your performance at your job. I look forward to a very good discussion. I will be here all the way through it, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope we shall all learn. Have a good session. Thank you so much. Melanie, you are muted.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nyombi. Thank you so much. As we've all heard from our keynote speaker, get your pens ready to write. Me, I'm ready to note. I'm ready to enjoy the session. Can we able to track? How can we know? What do you know to show off from the programs? That is what we are going to learn today. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Nyombi, and allow me to take this opportunity to invite the next speaker for the day. We are going to hear from Mr. Nelson Munyanda. He is a manager of the MTN Foundation in charge of youth empowerment. Prior, he worked at 2 management consultancy firms, at resident consultant at Epicon Consultants Limited and research associates at Adriot Consultant. We are excited to hear from you, Mr. Nelson, and you are much welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Melanie. As you said, my name is Nelson Munyanda, and I'm very, very pleased and very, very happy to have worked with you as the first cohort. You are the reason why we are here, and you're the reason why we're moving to the next level. Yes, the MTN Foundation, oftentimes when I'm speaking, I need to clarify this because MTN is a monolithic company. We use one logo, so we are mostly seen as one. And for such opportunities, we get to create awareness, not sensitize because you know about MTN. But MTN Foundation is a charity arm of MTN Uganda, and MTN Uganda is our benefactor. It contributes 1% profit after tax to fund MTN Foundation activities. And this foundation started way back in 2007. That does not mean that MTN has not been doing charity work before 2007. It used to through its marketing arm and its corporate services department. For the MTN Foundation has evolved over the years and has been supporting people in health, education, in art, in sports, the MTN Arena you see, those are all MTN Foundation interventions. But of late, since 2019 and the beginning of 2020, MTN has restructured its focus to youth empowerment. And why youth empowerment? Africa and Uganda in particular has one of the youngest population in the world after Yemen and Niger. So it's very important for us, and the most important problem, that the most biggest challenge we have as a continent is youth unemployment. And for us, it's to that effect that MTN Group had to focus on us giving the youth empowerment portfolio at least half of the amount of money of funds towards skilling young people and preparing them for the fourth industrial revolution skills like ICT, and that's why you're doing the ICDL. It's not for a joke that we put you into that rigorous self-driven training on ICDL. We know what it means to you in the world of work. None of you can be employed in UN system if you do not have an ICDL certification. So that is how big that certification is. And we ought to encourage all our friends and family to embrace this so that they can prepare themselves for the fourth industrial revolution. And it has been kicked off by the pandemic. It's real, it's a reality. Young people, young children are learning virtually, and these parents, you, the systems, your relatives, you are there to troubleshoot their systems so that they are able to learn. MTN Foundation also focuses on health, particularly maternal and child health. Education, we are looking at digitalization of education, especially the vocational education and primary. And also we do some relief support to Bududa, to Kasese, whenever those landslides happen and flash floods. So back to what we stand for. We stand for issues to do with good health, the SDG goals, the quality education, gender equality. For this program, the youth skilling program, if you realized, we had, our achievement was a 50-50 admission for both females and males. So, but we achieved 49 for females and 50 for 51 for males. So we are up there in terms of gender equality in our programs. And then also we are focusing also on goal number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. And we do not work alone. That's why we also treasure the goal 17 of SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, partnerships. We work through partnerships. MTN, you know, is a telecommunication company. It's a technical company in terms of communication. So we have to work with Ubunifu as an implementing partner in the space of applications, in the space of youth skilling, so that we can reach out to our beneficiaries with the right skills, with the right training, and with the right intention of our programs. We work with Red Cross, name it, UNFPA in various capacities. So for us, for the skilling program, we would want to see a multiplier effect. Yes, we had over close to 2,000 applications and we only selected 100 of you. But we know that 100 of you can train more 10 or 20 people and we have a multiplier effect down there in the community. The information that you have is very important for your community. I've seen what attracted most of us to associate with Mehdi is because of his interventions in his community. It's very important. What you learn, don't keep it to yourself. That's how we have lost the knowledge of our forefathers. They used to treat diseases and what, and just of recent, we had someone coming up with Covidex out of herbs that they used to use to heal certain illnesses in Teso. So these, we need to harness our knowledge and we need to share our knowledge. And this is one way of impacting the communities in which we serve, in which we live in. And Mukalu has been doing this. And that's why we got attached to him and say, why can't you lead this cohort at this moment in that kind of selection? But it's based on his deeds and works and actions that he's been doing in the community. So when you get these skills, they say you cannot track what you can't measure. So if 100 of us are training 10 people every year or every month, how many people we have reached out to. The skills that you would have gotten from these programs that you attend to are able to trickle down to the people down there in the grassroots, in the communities, and they are also able to learn more of what the world is standing for, because not everyone has the opportunity to join in and do the ICDL and do the technical skillings and do the business incubation. The other measure that we'll focus on as a foundation is that how many businesses have been able to be have been created, and how many of workers are these businesses employing, both indirectly and directly. So these are real figures that we need to see out there from the enterprises that you intend to start, or that you're already doing, or the jobs that you're already doing, or the vocation time that you have that you can offer to the community, work with the LC1, train elderlies, the young people, the women, how to use these technologies. And that is the real impact that we need to see in our programs. In summary, we need to see a young, youthful citizens who are very good resource for this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson. Thank you for the background that you've given us, and whatever MTN is doing, we are very grateful. We are happy at what you're doing. Personally, I'm among the people that went through the MTN Youth Skilling Program, and I can say that with what you've talked about the ICDL, it has been a game changer for everyone, mostly for me. And I hope even the other participants out there really appreciate. And about the multiplier effect, I hope we can bring that dream to life. If you're a participant, you're putting the skills out there about, you're teaching someone about these skills. Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson. And I'm going to request the next speaker to keep it short because we might run out of time. Our next person is going to be Hajara Nagawa. She's the first person that is going to speak to us, a participant from the MTN Youth Skilling Program. She's a professional secondary teacher and a social worker, a director of Kasangati Youth Aqua and Agriculture Skilling Center Limited, Gaza Kabubu. She's passionate about inspiring and creating change to those in crisis. She's a family person. She's ambitious, she's determined, she's outspoken, and she's God-fearing. We cannot wait to hear from you, Hajara. Please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Melanie. And good morning to everyone. My name is Hajara Nagawa. Yeah, she has introduced me really well. And we are acquaintances in the Youth Skilling Program. I've also been part of it, and I've really gained a lot. So I would like to share my journey. It has not really been well, working as a teacher and then going into social work. And then after there, you go to a platform where you're unemployed. So it has really been challenging, though very educative. My journey, I will give you a brief history about it. I actually worked with an NGO that is working with lawyers, and I was a social worker. I used to work in Gulu and Nomoro, then Lamo in the north. So it was really okay until the break up of COVID. So when we had COVID in place, that's when I had to think twice. So everyone was home. before COVID, you could mingle on where to leave the kids, how to balance family, work, and everything. But then after the breakdown of COVID, so I found it's really hard to balance all of them, working from home and then family and then work. So it was really hectic. But I said, okay, what do I have to do? So sitting at home with the kids, I saw there was really a lot they're missing. The parenthood was not working out well, because most of the time I was away. So I decided to resign as a person. I resigned and I sat home. So I already had the ambitions of becoming an agriculturalist, and I would love everything around. I did have a background of agriculture, but it came along the way. So I took it on. I had some birds, local birds, I put them around. I rear them, but then I wouldn't track how many birds. Okay, I know how many birds I brought in, but I would not record anywhere or do anything about it. Just put in money and drop at home. If they're dying, they're dying. If they're getting diseases, I wouldn't mind, because that is my money. I'm not questionable to anyone. So after joining the youth skilling program and going through the sessions that are very informative and educative, I knew I had so many gaps in how I was handling my ventures and how I was working, since I was doing a lot of losses than profits. So I decided to learn along the way. One of the things I used to do, I would go buy stuff and don't even bother asking for receipts. I would pick my stuff and come back, my money. But after getting rolled onto the MTN youth skilling, said, okay, so I have, even if it's my money, I have to ask for receipts from whoever I buy stuff from. So I became accountable, and I started recording everything. So looking at today's topic on how we are tracking the practical ways of how we are tracking our businesses, it's really something that we usually not look at and we don't pay much attention to. So I started asking for these receipts. I started recording each and every bit of my business. I used to just do things according to how I feel I should do them. So I started recording every penny that I put in, every medication, and every step of the way. So I recorded, not because I'm going to maybe to just keep it or what, but to track my business. How is the progress? What am I doing? Am I really adding it on, or am I subtracting? What is that best practice that I did initially that would help me if I hit a snag somewhere? So I recorded and I used to review. I look at what my recordings are. I'm currently engaging in poetry. I have an organization I'm running, though it has not yet got any funding, but I'm just developing it. I'm starting it along the way. So it's something that has kept me going. I have poetry, I have rabbits. I started with 2 rabbits. So as you record, you think of new ventures. My farm is running. I'm having some ventures at home, doing vegetables. I have classes of women that come in for lessons in computer every evening for 2 hours. So it's something that has kept me going, that when you track, you see that progress. And when the progress comes, then you see what you have to really add in. So that, alongside all the efforts that you put in, I set the targets. What is it that I have to do? After setting those targets, I started recording. As I put in the little that I get, I started slowly, very slowly. So I said, okay, situation is hard, but I have to do something. So I record each and every bit. Then through recording, I can review. So I keep on reviewing. And those are some of the practical ways I'm using to track the progress of my businesses and my ventures. And trust me, it's not yet too paying, but at least I'm happy that I've started, and I'm happy that I'm really getting something out of it. And I learn along the way. Then I also do share with very many of my friends, Haruna, Joseph, Emma, Charles. So there are many. Melanie. So there are many people, Muhammad, I share with them that when I get something where I'm stuck, then you say, okay, how do we do this? So you just have to know that you have to get yourself into the situation you want to be in and not wait for others to come and help you improve your situation. So that is it that I've done, and that those are the practical ways that I've really used on tracking my ventures and seeing that I really get it going. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Mr. Nyombi, you're mute, so we can't hear you.
Thank you, Mehdi. Just mentioning that I think we've lost our moderator, but as soon as I will hand over to her. For now, I would like to remind all of us that if you're not speaking, please keep your microphone muted and only unmute it when you have the chance to speak. If you have a question, please put it in the chat and we will be asking the speakers, direct it to the particular person you want to answer it, and they should be able to answer it for you. Melanie is back now, so I believe I can hand over to her to invite our next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you, Gumire, for stepping in for me. I apologize for my poor network. I'm sorry we didn't do about the network. In MTA and Nifu, we stand up for each other. Thank you, Gumire. So allow me to invite our next participant, who is none than Charles Samone. He's a degree holder of BAM, where he made in accounting and finance, a CPA candidate, and he's also passionate about technology. We cannot wait to hear from you and how you resonate with the topic. You're welcome to the floor, Charles.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mone Charles, as our moderator, Melanie, stated it clearly, and those are the details about me. As well, I would like to extend my greeting to a special guest on the call, Mr. Edwin Watimbi, the officer of the NIPU system and in Uganda, and other invite call today. We have a tagline that superstars. I salute you all. Thank you, Melanie, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my insight regarding the topics today, which talks about practical ways of monitoring impact of the skills we have acquired. I've been a lucky person among the nearly 2,000 applicants who are selected to attend this training. And it was a successful one. And I was very grateful after receiving the certificate on what we've been going through from Feb up to June, and the graduation was in August. So for me, I think my background, if you add the introduction, well, basically I have a good background in accounting and finance. I had a view of solving persisted challenges of financial record keeping among small and medium enterprises in my district. But there was a challenge that I had, just a basic knowledge of computer application like Microsoft packages, which could not really help me do this. So I came up with two products, that is automated inventory management system, and I thought of school fees collection system, management system. Then I tried to figure it out. I worked on it, and with a friend, I said, since you have a small business you're doing, can't you really help me and use this product and then try to figure out what is missing so that we really upgrade. So when we tried this with my colleague, we found that some few features was really needed to make this product work efficiently. Now, for me, with the little knowledge I have, I had no idea now how to fix the problem. So I had to abandon that project. And then when I landed on this advert, I've applied and I was enrolled. After the training, I was really equipped, and it was so really impressive for me because I really got it what I need. From there, I rushed and then I went and fixed what was missing in the product I had before. After fixing the product, 3 of my colleagues' friends came to me and said, what you have given your friend, I think is making his work easy. It's having all the track of record. Now, can't you really give us this? I said, I'm still working on it, not yet as I really need it to be. Then just give us like that, even if you have not really finished. I gave them that half-done work, halfway done work. Then they went with it and they paid me. I think it was really quite impressive. It was, I think I got 75,000 out of that. Then now, after finalizing the product, with the knowledge I've acquired, I've been able to sell a product to 15 customers, and I've raised so far 375,000. And on the line, I have 35 orders for the same product, which I'm working on because I personalize the product basing on your business. Whatever you do in your business, you cannot give this product to someone else to use it unless the person is having the same business like you, and the location might be different because I will put some security on the product, which you will not be able to use it in other places. You will not be able to use it for some other businesses because I will program everything. And that one has given me a second thought of involving, because I have seen so many youth who are having basic knowledge about the computer application, but they're not yet equipped enough. I decided to reach out to 5. I wanted to expand because I'm expecting more orders. And if I'm to work on it alone, I think it will really give me a challenge. So that is what I'm working on, and I've been able to measure the impact with the income which I've started generating, and I'm seeing the expectation after these 35 orders. I think I can be raising like around 875,000, which means I do this thing from home, and then I can assure you that the cost of production is not high at all. I don't need to hire maybe office. I don't need to hire maybe the sales people for now because I'm not yet grown big. So I want to train these people and then we expand to other districts because I've started with my district. And that is what I'm doing now. And that's what I've been able to measure. And then adding on other things, I had no idea about farming. You know, in town, we buy everything we need. We just go to the market and buy whatever you need, the vegetable. There's one day I shared this thought with Ajara. I think she impressed me a lot. Then I thought of a certain space at the backyard home, unutilized. Then I really came and sat down and thought of just a simple principle which I've got from the training, the MTN Youth Skilling Program. I remember well is from our facilitator, Stella Chivila, that is KISS, that keep it simple, stupid. And that is exactly what has motivated me. I looked at the space very simple. I was just doing it as not even minding of generating any income from there. Then I combined it with a recommendation from our facilitator, Rogers, Kagoda, and Marie. They have given us a very good recommendation that in every business, you start small and grow bigger. I can tell you openly now, I started with few vegetable. I have a premises near our home, rented to NGOs.
Sorry, interrupt you, Charles, but your time is running out.
Okay, I'm almost done. Yeah, have NGOs workers. I try to give this product to them at no cost at all. And when I reached them, they just asked me. I had no intention of selling this product to them, but they were asking me, how much will this offer cost? So this one has given me a second thought that, hey, this one I can also sell and make sell out of it. Then for me, I went back home and I started creating this, expanding the garden. And then now the first sale I made out of the vegetable from the backyard garden is 12,000. And I have many people online asking for the supply, constant supply. Now I'm thinking of expanding and also be the leading supplier of my neighbors with vegetable, which will generate me income. That is what I have from me. Thank you, Melanie, for inviting me, and thank you for listening, everyone on the call.
Thank you, Charles. It's interesting to know that people are doing for themselves after program. My biggest takeaway from Charles' presentation is that you should not give up. You shouldn't give up, and when others are telling you that you're not doing well, it will not work out. Just keep doing what you're doing, do it your way, and do not give up. Thank you so much, Charles, for those interesting words, and I hope we are all not. I'm seeing people say something in the chat. I'm seeing Muhammad just said that he's going to come forward. I hope you've noted that. And then also hope you are preparing your questions. Ask your questions in the chat room. We are going to have a Q&A session to participants, so don't forget to ask your questions in the chat room. Thank you once again, Charles. And I would love to invite our last participant, that is Irene and Yose. Irene is a graduate intern at the Innovation Village. She's a co-founder of Candid Crafts, a social enterprise that helps artisans get their products to the market. And she's also an MYSP alumni. We cannot wait to hear and learn from you, Irene. Irene, you're welcome.
Hello, thank you, Melanie, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. As Melanie said, my name is Irene, and I'm very happy to be here. This program has made a great impact for me, and personally, I've seen changes in the projects I'm involved in. So I'm grateful for the opportunity you've given me to share my insights. So as Melanie said in my introduction, I'm a co-founder of an organization. It's a social enterprise for helping artisans. Those are people involved in making handicraft items. But I also have a hobby of my own, and I'm a person who loves knitting and crocheting. So for long, I thought of turning it into a business, but it has never been an easy road. So in the beginning, I made quite a number of losses, because normally when you have items there, you might have many of them remaining in stock and they haven't been bought. But one of the things that have helped me change that is trying to listen and understand my clients. I engage them and I listen to exactly what they want. So most of the times, normally when we start businesses, it's all about the money normally, because you're looking for another path to make money. So I only used to think of my profitability, but not exactly what my clients needed. So you'll set the prices high, mostly because you want to cover your costs, but how many of your customers would be willing to pay? So not everything was bought because I was pricing the items a little bit high. But I learned the sole importance of understanding my customers' needs. For example, in the lessons we learned from entrepreneurship, product management, and marketing, they all showed you that the customer is the end game, and your customer should be always first in mind. So I researched, I engaged my clients, and I listened to them so that I can know which products they want most and know what they value, so that when I set prices, I know that this will be bought, but it won't leave my investment lying in stock. So I made some research, and I was able to learn how to price my items better to avoid overpricing my clients. You know, when you set high prices, normally you scare them away, but I wouldn't also want to undervalue the products that I'm making. So keeping track of everything is what really helped me in making these necessary changes. So always journal your progress, always keep track of the mistakes you're making, then you'll know that here the change is needed, and always listen to your customers, because when they tell you that they want this, try your best to see that you set your business in that line, because if you don't, you'll be making products that you're not going to buy yourself. You're making for customers, but they won't be buying. So the items are just going to be lying there in your stock, and that is capital that is being wasted. So those are really losses. And my other piece of advice would be is that you shouldn't sit on the knowledge you've got from this. Real learning comes from actual experience. So me wanting to turn my hobby into a business is something I thought of for long, but I always kept it at a standstill, because maybe I was scared of starting, I was scared of going into business, or I wasn't sure of how to do things, but this has really helped me. So put into practice everything you learn so that you do not forget it all. I made mistakes, you'll make mistakes, but you learn and you redo once again, but this time you do it better. So thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for listening to me. Back to you, Melanie.
Thank you, Irene. I hope we've all learned something from Irene's speech. No one could have said it better than you, Irene. You clearly brought it out when you were explaining everything that you. And my biggest takeaway from what Irene has said is you should notice when change is coming, because when you don't notice, you're supposed to keep track of everything that you're doing. And in case something is not happening the right way, you're quick to make a decision and change and transition from one thing to another. And then she also mentioned relearning comes with experience. And she's urging all of us to make sure that as you've learned something from the program, do not keep it to yourself. Do not be selfish. Move out there, tell someone about it, teach someone about it. The more you teach someone something is the more it grabs into your mind and you get learn, and the experience you get from teaching others is extremely magical. You can never tell what happens after you teach someone about it. And then also, we've also learned that we should journal our progress. And yeah, thank you so much, Irene. That was so insightful. We've something out of it. So I to taking for, I think, 10 minutes. We're going to be taking questions. Ask these participants anything that stood out for you. If you have a comment for them, it is okay. Say that comment. Just ask anything so that we get it on. And as you wait for the question, chat room, and also, I'm seeing a hand. Before I ask my questions, I would like to invite Emmanuel Okello to ask your question. Please be specific who the question is going to, or you can just mention the person you want to answer the question.
Thank you, Melanie. My question goes to all the three participants who have spoken. They have all spoken about one aspect of making profits. So like we have been trained at MTN and we know MTN makes profits, then at the same time, it also invests in CSR. So I would like all those participants to tell us kindly, how are they incorporating CSR into their activities? Thank you.
Thank you, Okello. First, Charles, to take it on first. Charles, are you there?
Yes, Melanie. I'm around. No, my network is not very good. I'm walking.
Sorry about that.
I didn't get the question well. Kelly was talking about something.
Yes.
Yes, Charles.
Yes, please.
My question to all the three of you is, how are you incorporating CSR? CSR is corporate social responsibility. How are you incorporating it into your activities or into your business? So how do you intend to do that?
For me, social corporate responsibility, you know, that one you can only do it when you have grown, but you can do it at also a lower level. For me, what I can do as a social corporate responsibility is like I get this youth and train them with the Excel knowledge I have, so that they become as good as me without paying me.
Charles, are you there?
Yes. Okay. I hope, Okello, I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you. And could I kindly also listen to all the two of the participants?
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you, Okello, for the question. But I think my venture alone is the true meaning of social corporate responsibility. Being engaged in agriculture, at least I know we have assurance of food and reduced costs in the community if they're going to take it on, that is urban farming, and the income will be increased in all the households. Then two, you talked about profits. It depends on how your definition of profits is in the venture you're engaging in. Me having classes of women in computer is one, an addition, or it's an empowerment for the women who are going to multiply it or pass on the information they're learning to their children or their households. And this is going to be beneficial to the community. So everyone is gaining. With a limited amount of money you're paying and with the knowledge you're gaining, then with how you're relating it or you're translating it to other people, it's a plus. So it depends on how your definition of profits and then impacting the community is. But I think whatever you're doing, eventually you start small with a few people, but then the multiplier effects come in. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that, Tajara. Start small and the multiplier effects will come in. I'm going to request Nandi to answer the question and we move on from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie. CSR, I would say, like Charles said, it's normally a bigger effect when an organization is big, but at a smaller level, normally the best way I could say we do that is through training more youth around our project. So like I said, my hobby, I decided to turn it into a business, and that through the training, that's where we saw that many people are doing these handicrafts items, but they do not have the market. They can't find the market of selling these items. So that was the sole reason for founding Candid Crafts, that social enterprise that would help market those items. So what we do is we train more youth around our homes, and when they learn to make those items, they make them, and then we help them sell those items. So I hope that has answered you, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you, the three participants, for answering the question very well. I do not know if it is all well with Okello Emmanuel.
Yes, please, please, let's continue. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. In the interest of time, I am going to request the other people to type their questions in the chat box because I see we are running out. So feel free to type your questions. We shall be answering the questions after we've had our guest speaker. So please don't feel shy, type your question ask any type of question, and someone is going to be out there to answer these questions for you. Don't forget to be specific when you're directing the question to someone. I'm going to be taking note of these questions and feel. So the next person, I am going to ask you all to put your hands together as we invite the one and only Primera Muthoni, who is going to introduce our guest speaker and also say something about today's topic. Thank you so much, and you're welcome, Primera.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for the invite to be part of the session. Thank you to the Ubunifu team. I am part of the MTN project team that has been part of the project from the very beginning. And it has been very interesting for me to see the growth from when we did the selection in January and the team joined and we were part of ICDL, to the technical training, to incubation, and to putting the alumni program together. I'm so excited to be part of it all. I am very involved in the incubation phase, and I'm very happy to see the people grow. But the incubation phase is not the only part of this program. Because of what you've been equipped with, you're able to create your own businesses and you're able to put together something that you have always dreamed about. That says, if you want to go far, go together. That is really the main objective of the alumni program. And I want to see you guys grow together as a team and support each other. If someone is, it's very interesting to hear Hajar working with someone else to be able to impart the knowledge she knows, to help the other person maybe with farming, to be able to impart the other person with knowledge that they have a specialty in. We have also been able to support other teams that have gone out to run for other competitions, and then they come back home. I will call this home because it's where you started. And they say, you know what? Please, Ubunifu team, MTN team, please come together and help us put this together, help us and check out our presentations, help us see what we have done and see if we are doing a good job. So it will be very exciting to see you guys grow. I know this is one of the very first webinars, and I know we are going to have very many more. And I'm excited to see you guys grow. I'm excited to be part of it. And I want to ask anyone who can reach out to the Ubunifu team, to the MTN team, to be able to grow. It is very, very important, and it's going to be part of your growth. If we are going to be able to measure growth, impactful growth, means you are going to grow together, not on your own. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Like, you need to rely on the other people. I know Melanie may be strong in something that I don't have. I've seen Hajara explain her weaknesses in finance, but she now can get help. If you need to redo those classes, they were all recorded. You can always get that and have the sessions. You can listen to them again and again and get that knowledge that you really need. Thank you so much. I don't want to take so much time because I also want to listen to this keynote, to this guest speaker of ours. I'm really looking forward. So because I interact with you a lot, I'm not going to speak too much because we are going to be together again tomorrow and the day after. And super excited. Thank you so much, team.
Thank you so much, Primera. She mentioned something so interesting, which is grow together and rely on other people. We all know that in this world, it's very hard to do something on your own. So do not be afraid to ask for help. Talk to someone. If there's anything that you're not well conversant with, talk to someone, tell them to help you, and we can grow together. Just like that. So before we invite the guest speaker. Allow me ask Haruna to specify, is there a person you wanted to answer the question that you asked? Our question is, he asked, how prepared are you to scale your opportunities to serve millions of people without necessity for funding? Since you're going to have a wonderful run with a guest speaker, allow me this question to introduce the speaker. Are you there? If Haruna is not there, allow me to ask Hajar to go first with this question.
Okay, thank you so much, Haruna. How are we willing to scale up our engagements to millions of people? Like I said, I'm an executive director of a company, and whatever ventures I'm putting in place, looking forward to solving the different problems or the different needs of different people, and not giving them support in cash or in material means, but I'm going to empower them with the skills that are going to help them. One, using the digital knowledge that we've gained. I know millions of you can have access to different social media platforms and the different engagements online or digitally. So we are going to use those platforms to make sure that we meet lots of people. And then we are also planning to have our engagement scaled up with a different, like okay, if you're not having a funding, you can still work and meet a variety of people. Aside from using the digital, one person can have a multiplier effect of 5 to 10 people. And this is a lifelong skill that is gained, that even when they train the 5 people they have met, the 5 people will meet the 5 and the 5 will meet the 5. So I think, I don't know if I've answered you, but that is our thinking around that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hajara. We appreciate. I'm going to request Nandi. Nandi, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm there. Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. I would say from Haruna's question, the best way to answer is e-commerce is the new normal for business. So the project that I'm a co-founder to, Candid Crafts, you can visit it. It's candidcraftsug.com. It's we built an e-commerce store. So what we do is we try to reach out to different people that make the crafts. Yes, we have a few youth that we've trained and we help them market those items. But then there are those people who are already out there in the society that are making these items too, and they are struggling because normally handicrafts people are household women, housewives, I could say. So we try to reach out to them through our sales teams, and we put their items on the e-commerce store. So digital platforms reach our customers faster. And I think it's the best way to reach out to a wider base. I hope that has answered you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandi. Thank you for answering the question. I hope Haruna is at peace with the answers. I'm going to request everyone to put their hands together. So we invite the person we have been waiting for. We are privileged to have our guest speaker for the day. He's the president of the Makerere Engineering Society, the chief executive officer of the mentorship class and the Secret Initiative. Who are we? He is also the campus ambassador of Startup Africa. He's a TEDx speaker, a National Public Speaking Award winner, ranked as the best young motivational orator by the Association of Uganda Public Speakers. And he's none other than Edmund Walusimbi. We are happy to have you, and our ears are ready to listen and unlisten. We are ready to take notes, and we are expectant. Please let us welcome our guest speaker for the day. You're welcome, Mr. Edmund.
All right, thank you very much, Melanin, for that humbling introduction. Great to be here and glad to virtually connect with all of you. And wow, it's really amazing, glad to be here. So let me just share screen. I hope I have the rights. Okay, thank you very much. Great. Just share screen. All right, great. So I was tasked to come and share in regards to the theme for the day, more to do with assessing the impact of youth skilling programs in Uganda. And I'm someone who is really passionate about youth skilling, more in line with the problem of labor market transition, more of school to work transition for countries such as Uganda. So I'm going to be sharing a lot within the what we do within the organizations I'm part of, such as the mentorship class, such as the Secret Initiative. I'm going to be sharing a lot in regards to how we actually measure impact and also different aspects concerning the actual value behind tracking impact as an organization, or best of all, say maybe as a social entrepreneur venturing out. And just to really lay the ground, I really love starting most presentations with getting down to really how my story has been over that time, just to really break the ice and for us to really get to relate in a more of a one-on-one level. And I'm a person who has been working on, who's been running capacity building programs since 2017. That was then I was in senior 6 vacation. I got to join mentorship class, which is also a youth skilling program. So it's similar, I could say it's similar to what you people were part of. Though the other side usually run it for 6 months, and during that period we tend to have different mentors coming in, different speakers, and we pass our mentees through a whole curriculum, starting with self-discovery, trying to discover their strengths, passions. We then move on to aspects to do with personal development, power of excellence, how to become excellent, qualities of excellent people. We then keep building on into career development, entrepreneurship with the business hackathon, where we have our mentees compete for cash prizes as they present businesses they've actually been able to develop. So I was fortunate enough to be part of the first cohort in 2017, and it really impacted me quite a lot. I began off with doing some bit of branding work, making jumpers, shirts. I began off with doing programs in secondary schools. I qualified for government sponsorship, so I took it as a mantle to go and really inspire some other senior 6 students in regards to how they can actually apply in regards to also the actual value behind government sponsorship. And it was then that I realized that you find that there's some schools that pay the money, but then they don't even apply. You find that some schools that don't even know the specific courses at different universities. And it was quite an interesting time venturing into that field and reaching out to young people. So along the lines, for the past couple of years, I could say few years, I've been doing a lot in regards to the mentorship class. I was back there as a guest speaker, and then I was also part of the program as a coach, volunteering as a coach and head of public relations in regards to communications with the guest speakers, with the mentors, just as how you've also had me here to come in and speak. So I was in charge of basically doing that for the entire program within 2019 to ensure that our mentors were coming in and were reaching their desired outcomes. So I'm also the founder of the Secret Initiative. And our work there is more to do with career guidance, more to do with really helping young people get to identify their strengths, because most times it's a lot to do with maybe the course that your father did, the course that your mom did, or maybe the profession that is lacking within your family. Yet in the actual sense, we as young people should look into our areas of strength and build onto them to become better people in be it career-wise or professional-wise. So I got the opportunity to also be part of the United Social Ventures. And during that time, it was more of a 3-month program where we doing workshop, carrying out design thinking. We were passed through the whole design thinking process. And that's why I personally got to first interact with this whole thing to do with impact tracking. I then used to I never really used to pay so much attention to impact tracking, but this particular program shared with me quite a number of tools and resources, which I'm going to share in today's presentation in regards to impact tracking. And the line of public speaking, I emerged best in a public speaking contest, and I've also fortunately been able to meet one of my role models in speaking, and that's Vusi Tambekwayo sometime last year before the pandemic. So I've been doing a lot of speaking, mainly in line with school to work transition, because I feel that there are quite a number of things that we as young people don't get to find out before we leave university or vocational institutions. And by the time we reach the job market, we're not ready. We most times get out-competed, we get disappointed, we get depressed, all because of the mere fact that we didn't acquire that kind of mindset early, the mindset that looks at more into learning skills and more into being able to become a better individual and also market yourself even before you leave the boundaries of school. And I do a lot of this in regards to the speaking that I do. And it was more from that front that I was taken up as the CEO for the mentorship class to push the vision broader. I've also been part of the Young African Leaders Initiative, Young East Africa program, and I've also served in different organizations such as the Economic Policy Research Institute as a country resource person. Yeah, so this year around came with a big bang, being invited to speak at TEDx, and it was really quite humbling that they did the research and they found that the work I was doing was quite credible and worthwhile for the platform such as TEDx for me to share my ideas. And I was specifically tasked to present about what young Africans really need to succeed. And all this was based on the programs we've been running and more of the engagements in regards to school to work transition. All right, so I think that has laid the ground. So you all know who I am, you know where I've come from, you know a brief about how the journey has been. And just to set the bottom line, I believe we are all, first of all, you're all alumni of the MTN Foundation. I'm also an alumni from the mentorship class. So the bottom line I'm looking at is that we've all been through programs that have given us the skills we need, programs that have mentored us, programs that have been able to open our minds to even think into different perspectives. And precisely today, I'm going to take us through this whole thing of impact. Yeah, but it's really quite crucial that we get to first understand the value of impact, why someone should actually look at impact as something which is really, really key. And for this specifically, I consider impact as a sort of value identification, you know. Say maybe you're running an NGO or you're running a social enterprise and you're training maybe young girls to do work in regards to crafts or maybe anything, basically. The whole essence of impact is that you're trying to find ways to actually pinpoint the value you're creating. You're trying to find ways to actually showcase to someone that, you know, for this particular aspect of work that we do for this organization, this is the value we are creating. This is the closest we can really stipulate it into maybe metrics such as numbers, because we find that for businesses, it's quite easy to present their success in terms of maybe profits, in terms of maybe people that have been able to reach and their growth over the years. But then for specifically youth programs, we tend to look a lot on the impact as something of value. And I'm going to be sharing some tools that we can be able to use in regards to organizations that we lead and the work that we do so that we can actually be able to validate the impact that we create all through it all. I remember the time when I got to join United Social Ventures and we reached a point and they asked us, what impact have you created? And That question really hit me deep. You know, I first began thinking and I was like, okay, Edmund, you're doing this program in these schools, but then what impact did you create? How can you actually validate that for these schools I've been to, this is the impact, this is something tangible, this is something that I can actually be able to show as the impact that has come out of it. And it was from this program that I got to learn some tools that are really quite helpful. And one of them being that if you're looking at tracking your impact as an organization, one key thing you need to do is look into ways of identifying key performance indicators. Now, key performance indicators are a form of measurement, actually the forms of performance measurement that you as a person can create for your specific organizations. Different organizations have different dynamics, but then the beauty of creating key performance indicators is that you sit down and you look, you do the work you do, and you decide that, you know what, for this particular aspect, let me say I'm an organization called, maybe it's a program called ABC, yeah? And maybe our mantle is that we teach young people computer skills, we teach young people how to code, we teach young people how to create software programs. Yeah, in this aspect, looking into the key performance indicator would be that, all right, maybe for a particular segment of 100 people we take on, the skills that we teach them. Out of these 100, what if we have maybe 50 of them that have been able to use this skill and they're actively working on some small contracts and they're actually creating, say, computer programs for organizations, yeah, then this specific number would be the one that would really prove to us that this is actually in that actual sense, these would be our key performance indicators. And just to show you how you can actually be able to stipulate key performance indicators for your organization, let's say for this particular organization called ABC, as I said, we're training young people how to do coding, how to use their computer skills to ability add value to the workplace, since now things are going digitally. And as the founder, you're sitting down and you're like, okay, I need to validate the impact we create. I need to create a sort of measure, because now you're looking into the aspect of the programs that you run. So one way around this, using the key performance indicator, this is a template that can be used when you're actually rating them out. You could look into, say, the symptoms of the impact that you're deeming to create. So for example, I could have, say, a list of 3. And let me say I'm looking at 1, the ability of people within the program to create websites and online advertising campaigns, because I'm teaching them the tools, I'm equipping them, I'm empowering them, so I'm giving them the skills to proceed. So that could be one symptom that I'm looking at. And why we term it a symptom, it's something that you may not see physically, but then at the end of the program, you're like, sincerely, as in the training you've given, I feel this young person can be able to do this, yeah? So another could be improved computer literacy skills, like for example, use of Excel, Access, or maybe ability to code and create AI programs, So how now do you quantify, how do you quantify this specific symptom of the impact? One way is you look into ways that you can actually visualize this impact. And for maybe a person who has the ability to create websites and online advertising campaigns, one good way of actually getting to the detail is looking at the number of, say, website clients that have taken on, if you have the skill, how have you been able to use it? How many maybe clients have you served, okay? So as you see here in this column, we have the number of clients, all right? Now, it could be that for the aspect of someone who has been taught computer literacy skills like Excel, Access, ideally right now, they must be at a point whereby they can easily do computer project tasks, be it typing, creating, developing a proposal, using Microsoft Word, anything that's maybe computer related as a task, right? And it could be that for the person who you have, per the program you're running, ideally, you're looking at the mentee should be able to take up machine learning projects. They should be able to execute machine learning projects for different tasks, right? Now, the essence of the columns that you see here, the column entitled the reliable measure, it's going to use my cursor here. And then the column of you see entitled attributable, in brackets, outcome and venture out of 10. Here you're trying to compute one specifically for the column of reliable measure. You're trying to find out, okay, for this specific feature I'm seeing, for this specific symptom I'm trying to validate, how reliable is it? How close is it to actually quantifying the actual impact I've created, you know? So like on a scale of 1 to 5, as you see, on a scale of 1 to 5, is it maybe a 4 in that it almost gives me the actual, it almost proves the okay, it almost gives me that actual 100% impression that, you know what, this is a good indicator I can actually base on, you know? You're trying to give it a range between 1 to 5. So it could be that 1, you're looking at this may not actually be a reliable measure in that the actual aspect that maybe this is something that someone can be able to learn by themselves. So it's not, or it could be that maybe this is a skill that someone maybe even learned in school. So you're trying to base on this as a reliable measure doesn't really make sense, you know? So for this particular template, I was deeming it that, let me give it a 4, in that I'm looking at it that this aspect is actually a good, it's a reliable measure I can use when actually rating the kind of impact I'm creating in a person. And then the next column, which has attributable, here you're looking into the whole aspect of how affiliated is it to your program, you know? On a scale of 1 to 10, do you take it that whatever this person has learned has maybe, if it's a 10, it has been solemnly learned from your program or your initiative, yeah? Or is it maybe a 2 in that this is something that someone may not necessarily have only learned from your program? It could be that maybe they also did a computer course elsewhere, and this is something that you can actually be able to deem based on your target. If you're to look at, maybe if you're targeting maybe young people aged between 19 to 24 years, and maybe you're looking at getting them from rural areas, ideally it would be a high rating for something that is attributable to your program, because you're giving them the exposure, you're putting in all this investment for them to learn the skills, you know, you're the one putting in all this much for them to understand, yeah? So it could be a range from 1 to 10, and then you take it out of 10. So for this case, I put an 8, which is 0.8. And if you multiply that 2, you get a 3.2 as, for example, your key performance indicator value. So the same for, let's say, computer skills. You have to be, actually, most of these deliberations are best done when you're with a team of people, probably the facilitators, the trainers, you know, and you sit down and you're like, okay, now for this particular task, if it is the mentee having an improved, I use mentee a lot because at the mentorship class, we refer to the people who are being trained as mentees, and the mentors as the people who come in to do the mentorship. So if the mentee can easily do computer project tasks, all right, is it something reliable? It could be a 4. Yeah, it could be a 4 for my case, because now, I mean, ideally, if the person didn't acquire these computer skills, then they wouldn't be able to do the computer project tasks you're looking at. How attributable is it to your organization? You know, it could be a 7. Maybe the person is coming in from an area that, okay, maybe it's rural, but then they still have access to, maybe their relatives have maybe a laptop or computer. So you cannot, maybe you can't fully take the full what? You can't take the full recognition that it has been only you that has actually been training them to have this, yeah? And still the same for the case down, you know? You get the 2 values, you multiply, then you get your key performance indicator values. And the gist of this is that the highest value would then be something that you look at as a key, as your highest key performance indicator, because it's something that you can largely base on, that maybe for this cohort of people I'm taking, for this cohort of 30 people, this is something that is, this is a strong indicator that I can vouch on. And even when I go to pitch to organizations, to companies, I'm like, this is the actual impact we are creating, because from the benchmark I did, from the behind the scenes, you know, we sat down, we looked, we saw how reliable our measure is. We also saw how attributable it is to us as an organization that is actually instilling the skills of work within these young people. Now, are there any questions concerning this? Because I'm going to be taking us through, there's a practical phase and it's going to build on this. So I want to take us through everything. All right. All right. Thank you, Haruna. Right. Great. Okay. Now, right. Great. I'm going to answer your question after the presentation because I see it's a good question. It's a good question. But let me answer it after so that we first finish with this. All right. So are there any questions concerning this specifically, this table? Because this table is a stepping stone onto the next bit I'm going to present. So is there any question concerning this? Is it clear? You can put a thumbs up. Melanie, maybe you can confirm to me if everyone's okay with this, because now the next segment, we're going to build on this specifically. Yeah.
I am thinking that they are okay with it because silence could mean that they are following.
Okay. All right, great. So what was the gist of this? We're trying to look, okay, I see Mohammed. Is it Mohammed? Yes, you have a question you can ask.
Yeah, thank you. Like mine is in line with young people who can't write or read. Is there any way we can design this tailored to a basic way of communication, of using photos or something? Like I'm trying to look at a very huge uneducated young people are doing a lot of work, but always it's so hard to like quantify their impact because the templates are not friendly with their daily. So I'm trying to think, how do we think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Great. Great question. Now, this template is actually for you as the founder and the team that's in charge of the training or the program. Because now this actually the participants should never even use this, because this is for you to feel. It's something for you to use as a way to validate what specific impact you're looking at. So maybe if maybe your organization is looking into teaching people how to read and write, yeah, the symptom would be, say, the ability of the child to actually read a full news, read like a newspaper article. Then it could be observed by the level of fluency that the person actually presents as they're reading, the eloquence. It could be also the ability to actually explain what they've read in the article. Then how reliable would it be on a scale of 1 to 5? Still, as I said, it comes from you discussing with your team and you're like, okay, this is the training we've given the child can now read, yeah, but then how reliable is this? Is this something, is us listening to the child read, is it something that gives us a good indication of the impact we've created? Yeah, if it's a yes, on a scale of 1 to 5, how reliable is it? And it could be a 5 because you're actually getting to listen to the child as they read the article. So you're getting the actual feedback. Then how attributable is it from a scale of 1 to 10? You know, you look at that. So you look at the dynamics of the people the cohort you have taken on. If they're in rural areas, think of it. Do they maybe have access to reading material at their home? If they do, if they do, prior to your program, before even your program starts, it could be maybe that there are some skills that have been able to learn in regards to reading at home. So you may not give it a 1, which is like a 10 over 10. So it could be something like maybe a 6, a 7, you know, looking at that whole area of balance in regards to, is it really us as an organization? Are we the only ones that have created this specific impact? Or maybe there are certain areas at their home, in their district, in their like village counties that they could have been able to learn. Then when you apply that, you get your KPI value, and you do this for different symptoms of the impact that you visualize the organization is creating. And the values alone will clearly indicate to you what is your most credible impact that you're based on. Does that answer you, Mohammed? This is for you as the team to do your benchmarking and to do your, does that answer you? Just to confirm. All right, I think it does. All right, does it, Mohammed? It is, and it's still up. Okay, so that's the bit now. This has been the KPI. We're looking at how we quantify the impact, for the youth program. Next, now we're looking at for the youth program. You have now quantified, this is your KPI, this is your key performance indicator. Now we are taking it a notch higher. how do I actually acquire data from these people I've taken on, from this group I've trained, from this cohort I've taken on, from this training I've passed through my program? How do I get the data to actually find out how close I am to the actual goal, to not try and trace how far I am or how close I am to the actual goal. Now, this is where the whole aspect of evaluation forms comes in. And I remember I'm part of the McGregor Club, which is under Toastmasters. It's more of a public speaking club. So for it specifically, it's called, there's a time we usually have meetings and we pass around evaluation forms. And that particular segment is called the moment of truth, because now you're trying to find out really the work I've done, really how we've been running. Are we really hitting the target as we wish to? Now, for this segment, the bit of evaluation forms helps you to acquire quantitative and qualitative data about the impact of your program. I'm sure you've done evaluation forms, but then I want us to think a lot into the side of how we can actually use the data that comes with it and how to even create the evaluation form. What should we have at the end of our mind? So some tips that I saw that are really impactful is that one, I really encourage people a lot, because at TMC we have the registry tribe. For us, in terms of teams, we gave our teams are named tribes. So we have the registry tribe that's more in charge of record keeping, evaluation, and some key things we look at is that we mostly love using specific objective kind of questions during assessment, because these help you really give a good analysis. You know, if maybe you have a question here that has 4 objectives, automatically, if you give it to a sample of say 50 people, the beauty of using, for example, online forms, it helps create those actual percentages that really give you that good rating that you can actually be able to see for yourself. Unlike maybe times when you're asking people to just write in their views, which is good, you can always have a segment for that, but then tend to look a lot on the objective type, and the form should really be short and concise, because the fact is most people don't love writing long. Most people don't like, the attention span is really low nowadays. So when you give someone an evaluation form, they don't want to take close to 10 minutes, you know, sitting down, having to read the question, having to fill the form. And another thing is people tend to love secrecy when it comes to giving honest feedback. So as the founder, as maybe the facilitator of this program that you want to really quantify, you need to look a lot on the side of how you can make the form short and concise, and also bring in an element of secrecy. You know, I'm sure you can all relate, even if you're to think of the days way back when you were in secondary school. Most times when you find there are times when maybe they're asking you to ask questions, and at the end of the session, you find people writing on cheats and sending, you know, the questions forward. Those are the things that keep growing all through time. So people tend to love secrecy, and that's when they give you the honest feedback, which to you as the head is something very, very key, because you're trying to find out what impact you are creating. The next thing is you should also look into pitching to your audience about the value of honest feedback. You know, say the training has ended, say the cohort has ended. Tell them why you need that honest feedback, because it is from them understanding the value of that honest feedback that they will actually be more committed to filling the form, be more committed to actually giving you that feedback, which will be very helpful to you as an individual. Because the fact is, it's the feedback that they give that you can actually be able to use to even jump onto, you know, bigger milestones and achievements as a program or as an organization. And there are quite a number of simple and easy software tools for you to use: Google Forms, Airtable, Microsoft Forms, and most of these are actually free. I'm sure all of us here have an email address. So that alone gives you access to all these different forms that you can actually be able to use to quantify your data. All right. Now, we're going to do a test run, and the value of this test run is that I want to relate this aspect of value of evaluation forms to the very first aspect of KPIs that I earlier presented, right? And for us to really make this as interactive as possible, I'm going to share a link, all right? I hope you all here. I'm going to share a very, very short link within our chat section. And I'm going to request that we fill this link. You know, it's a very short link. Right, yes, you're there. Great. Now, if you can all go to your chats, I've pasted a short link that I want you all to fill. I see here we are 28 people. I'd really appreciate if at least we have 60% or even all the 28 filling this form. Now, the value of this form, as I said, I'm going to relate this form to the first aspect of KPIs. We looked through KPIs and we saw how to identify key performance indicators. Yeah. Now, through this form, we're actually going to see how to relate the KPIs to the data that you can actually be able to get in a training. So I made this form, but then for your case, obviously after identifying the impact you want to create, you would then make a form that is more aligned and more customized towards the group you're training, towards the material you're training. And now I'm going to show you the beauty of that and how to actually use it in line. So just to recap, the form is very simple. Just tap it. The questions are simple. Gender. I made the questions in such a way that they're all objectives. So I just want you to imagine that maybe you're part of this program, you did this course, and now it's been 3 months, and let's say it's a computer course, yeah. So I just want you to just fill the form as you wish. Just fill it as you wish. You'll see that within the form, there's some simple questions such as, okay, gender then has ABC. So ABC is the program I made in quotes. So has ABC enabled you acquire the skills to code an AI program, you know? Simple objective, yes, no. How many machine learning projects have you done in the last 3 months? I put 8, 6, 4, 2. You can choose, you can put 8, you can put 6, you can put 4, you can put 9, more than 8. It's all okay. Then you see that there's an objective question which says, has ABC taught you how to create websites and online advertising campaigns? Yes, no. Just choose any answer. Just be as liberal as you wish. How many clients have you served? You can put an 8, you can put a 4. I mean, you can put a 2, you can put a 9, you know. Then there's the last question of how much have you been able to earn per client through the projects you have worked on. There's 400,000, 200, 150,000. Just choose any value, you know. This is a very, and to make this as interactive as possible. So just get onto the link, perfect, done. And just help us confirm via the chat so that we get this data, you know. For my case, I'm doing it in the aspect that I want to bring in the actual relation in regards to KPIs and evaluation forms and the feedback that comes in. And through this, I believe you can also be able to iterate this for your organization. For the people you train that can actually access the online bit, you can do online forms, which makes the data analysis easy. For those that may not be able to do that, you can sit down and actually create forms, Microsoft Word. These are skills, you know, Microsoft Word, print the form, give them the field, put in the data in a computer, get your matrices done. So, right, I see done, great. Let me also check. Right, I see we had 9 responses. If we can at least reach 20. Yeah, 10. Guys, let's keep them going up. The all objective questions, you just choose none so far, yes, you know, just choose any response, right? Great. I see we are 10. Need like 5 more, 6 people. You can get the number up. So I'd really have some good data coming in, and I bring in the relation. All right, done. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Julius. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, Irene. All right, I'm still waiting on more people. Charles, Christine, Jackie, Joel, Mohammed, Paula, Oscar, Ronald, Solomon, you know. Can we paste the link? Very, very short link. Just tap it. Perfect. Great. We are 13. You're 13. 7 more people. Great. All right. Thank you, Solomon. All right. I think I haven't seen Mulondo yet. Mulondo, Mohammed, Jackie. All right. Let's bring in those responses. Great, 15. 5 more people, guys. 5 more people. Just five. Just 5 more people. And then I close the link, and then I bring in the relation that I want to show you guys. Oh, Mohammed was the first. Thank you very much, Mohammed. All right, done. Great. I think we're now left with 4 people. All right. Come on, the number is almost getting done. All right. Great. We're almost reaching. Great. 4 to go. Guys, 4 to go. Just to re-echo what we're doing, we're filling the form because that form is actually going to help us create the relation. As I said, for this program, all right, 4 to go. For this program that I have made up, I've taken it that it's someone's audio. Londo. All right, so what we're doing now is that I have, right, I see time is also running. So what I've taken it is that there's a program called ABC. We train people computer skills, how to design websites, programs. We've done this, we've identified our KPIs. We've seen that the biggest KPI is one's ability to code and create AI programs, followed by ability to create websites and online advertising campaigns. So those are like the main two key performance indicators we are going to take forward, okay? So what I did, I organized a training. We had a training. I trained you people for a period of say 2 months. The cohort ended. It's now 3 months later. And now I want to really validate. I want to get numbers that can actually show the impact that I have been able to create. And that is a test run we're doing right now, right? All right, thank you. So let me get onto the form and then, all right, 17. All right, cool. So now let me get onto the form and then I share screen for us to see. All right, great. So, perfect. So it's been 3 months, the cohort has ended. I've done my evaluation. Let's say it was a cohort of what, 26 people. And I have surveyed 17 out of the 26, which is what, more than half, close to what, 60–70%. So it's a good benchmark. Now, I'm trying not to evaluate. Okay, so from the cohort, I had a total of 18 people, of which 12 of them were male and actually 6 were female. Furthermore, the program, yes, 61%, which is the largest percentage, say that I've actually been able to learn computer skills. So then when I'm presenting to maybe a potential partner, it is easier for me to present to them because now I have actual, let me just zoom in a little. All right, just to make it clear. All right, great. All right, so yes, so even now when I go to present to someone, it's so easier for me to market to them because I have actual data that shows that actually for this cohort of 27 people, 61% of them, the majority, 11 out of 18 that filled the form, say they've actually learned the skills. And how many machine learning projects have you been able to do? Now, the largest, yes, the largest percentage says they've been able to do 8. So to me as the founder, I now have proof. I have been able to quantify the impact. You know, it's no longer just about training, speaking, what, sending communication manuals. But now I've actually sat down and I've put a number to it that out of the cohort we took, 47% of them have been able to work on, 9 of them have, none so far, none of them have been able to work on projects. So it actually shows, it could be a deficiency on my side in that maybe I didn't teach them marketing skills. So that shows me another problem I need to work on. But on the other hand, only 1 of them, all right? So even now when I approach the program better, I'll be knowing maybe areas that are deficient within the people. But then I have, 3 of them that have actually been able to carry out, that have been able to execute at least 2 projects, which is also a good indicator. And speaking of it, 4 have been able to actually execute 4 projects. 4 actual projects in the last 3 months, So this is that I can actually be able to use to find out one areas maybe I'm deficient in as a trainer, or leave alone that the actual impact in that has the program taught you? Yes, it has taught you how to create websites. So what this means, the material is okay, the curriculum is okay, people actually learning the skills, I'm now getting the actual metrics to the impact. And then how many clients have you served? So, all right, we see 2 of them have been able to serve 2. We see 4 of them have been able to serve 4 clients, which is also a good indicator. And if you're to move further, you have to look at maybe how much they've been able to earn per client. You have those that have been able to earn 400,000 per client, at least 3 people within the cohort of 18, you know. Now this shows you the actual feedback you need to use to even make your program better, or even when you're pitching to people, other than simply stating we are training people, we've taken on girls, we've given them this education in terms of maybe, you know, sewing, and you don't know how many of those girls have been able to make products out of that skill. You don't know how many of those girls have been able to maybe sell their products, you know. You don't have that in-depth information concerning that feedback. Now, another thing to note, as I said, part of the tips, if you have objectives, it's easier for you to bring a matrix. As you can see here, it's a pie chart. Leave alone that this feedback becomes really helpful for you as an individual when you're even presenting to potential partners and sponsors within that line. Great, so thank you very much for the participation within that first segment. And right, let's see, 11:50. All right, so let me just get to the presentation and then lead us to the next segment. Now, why I specifically chose those questions, it's because those were the 2 highest key performance indicators, all right? So what's the similarity I'm trying to bring out? You first look into identifying your key performance indicators. After identifying them, you take the highest. I took 2 out of the 3. And then it is those that you use when you're actually creating the evaluation forms for you to quantify the impact you are creating, so that there's a very, very big significant difference in the work you're doing. All right, great. So for example, mentorship class, okay, these were some snapshots from the evaluations we've done, what we're training people into aspect of actually their passion into convenient skills, and where we're really reaching out and finding out, have they been able, we have sessions that we do on personal branding. This year around, we had Mr. Tony Otoa taking us through personal branding alongside Barbara Kasengede, Stanbic Bank CSR. So what we do is that for every session that ends, we have an evaluation that comes in during the week to really find out how the mentees are faring. And then even after the program, we have a January evaluation. So this is from the January evaluation. We had a cohort of 85 mentees this year. This is from 62 responses from the sample. And yeah, that's really more of like a brief to really give you the actual value. So when I come to present to you, it's easier for me to show you the impact we are creating. Now, another third key thing, which I believe is really significant when it comes to tracing impact, is having a functional alumni association, one that builds a community, because we as people always looking for belonging. You know, we always want that place that we call family, that place where we're at ease, you know. And key things I've seen, because for my journey, I was the president of the Alumni Association for the mentorship class before taking on the contract as CEO. And some key thing I really got to learn is that when you're creating when you're strengthening the alumni, it's more of creating that space for people to come in, to bond, to share their ideas, to grow, because you need to realize that yes, you've trained a person, but then now they're going into the real world to execute what they have learned. And remember, it's not that the real world has actually had the same training, so that they have the same mindset. So automatically there'll be a lot of resistance. And it's very key that as you do your alumni association, be it maybe for the girls you have trained how to sew, after the program they have their association, you know, they do some savings together, you know, they come, they communicate to each other. It's easier for them to synergize and really build bonds other than just training and just leaving them there, and now leaving them to the world to go on and see what next. And the other thing is you also need to recognize to the leadership team, you also need to recognize that members of the cohort grow at different rates. You know, there are those after the cohort, day one after the cohort, a week after the cohort, they're on fire. You know, they're reading about them in newspapers, they're making it big per se. But then you find that there are some people who may need some period to grow. Everyone is on their different tracks. So there are those that are still in the marketing phase, there are those that haven't yet really gotten the confidence, there are those that have now just ended the program and they're trying to rediscover themselves because of the impact it has had. So it's really key to recognize the fact that different members will be growing at different rates through the program. Another thing is also constantly documenting the achievements of the members within your alumni association for you to really sell their stories and bring them on, because now that is how we actually see the impact that you're creating as a youth program. Now, for the mentorship class, we have the Alumni Association, and for it, they also produce quarterly newsletters. So these newsletters basically feature all the members that are doing great stuff from the cohort. So this is also part of our impact tracking. It really enables us to find out how the alumni are doing, and it's something that is released quarterly. So we have a system whereby people get to update us on how they're faring, what they're doing, what achievements are they on, and the publication is then shared on social media. It's then given to parents, and people get to see the actual impact. Because now what you're trying to do is you're trying to create proof points. You're trying to actually show people the impact that the program has created, and just so amazing. Great. So how do you track your progress as an individual? Now, this is something quite interesting. When I was talking with Sylvester, and he was sharing with me the expectations, and part of it was how to track your progress as an individual. And it really brought a question to my understanding. And this question is a question I have for you in regards to really what progress have you made since the program ended? Have you done justice to what you are taught? And why am I bringing this question? Because for you to track progress, it must be there. And that only comes if you actually execute what you've learned. Otherwise, you'll be the kind of person who goes training after training, certificate after certificate, and you're not even using what you're learning. And in that actual sense, you're not progressing, because the fact is you're not using anything. I think you notice along the way, something I usually tell guys a lot is to learn something they intend to use, because that becomes more valuable to you even beyond the paper. The paper is great, but then the value only comes if you're able to execute a skill that you've learned out of that paper that you have as an individual. And in case you haven't, there's a PDCA kind of process I got to learn from one of my mentors. And it's something that's used quite a lot in management. And how the whole cycle runs: you plan an activity, you plan what to do, you plan a process, and then you execute. You move on to the actual process of doing it. And as you actually do it, you're able to learn, you're able to acquire as much feedback as you can from individuals. You're able to see areas that you need to improve in. And you basically reach this stage of being able to, interact with your customers, see areas that need to be improved on. And this more ushers into the checking stage, where you're more of doing the analysis, you're getting the feedback, you're finding out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, what dynamics are within this market or this organization I'm actually running as per the field I'm in. And then you get this feedback. Similar to the link I've shared, the evaluation form, it gives you the feedback. And guess what? After getting that feedback, you now act upon it. You look into areas that you see are weak and you need to improve on. And then you go back through the same process. After identifying those areas, you're acting on them, you now plan to even do better. And it just becomes a vicious cycle all the way, where you're just planning, doing, you're checking, you're evaluating, is the impact being created? Yes, no. All right, let me do it again. And as individuals, we're in an age where it's really key for us as a person to really sell yourself. And I find that most of the impact tracking, actually, personally, I believe the biggest impact tracking you can do as an individual is basically share your story and I could say market yourself to the world. In that we're in an age right now that is so digital. Quite interesting. The person who invited me also connected. He sent the first invite through LinkedIn, and most of the engagements I now get are really through social media and LinkedIn. But then we're in an age whereby if you're doing something, you need to be able to sit down and document it. You need to be able to actually publicize it. You need to be able to share your story, because it's from that people will read and find out, okay, this program has been able to achieve this experience. Okay, this individual has been able to accomplish this and this and this and this over time. And it's through that someone gets to actually track your growth. Most times when someone looks for your profile, they do that bit of, they do the tracking. They go back and they're like, okay, this is what they've posted now, this is what they're doing, but then how has it been through? And that's why, as I began, I shared with you the whole profile and timeline, because I'm trying to show you the impact that the program, the mentorship class, had on me, and also what I've been able to do through the different stages of growth. And a lot of it comes from actually, documenting, getting picture sets. Most of those pictures are from 3 years back, 4 years back. But then the gist of it is that when you reach areas where you want to push yourself forward, you want to get into opportunities, it's way easier for you because you have been tracking that progress all through as you've been going. And right now we're in the age of the gig economy, there's digitalization, there are quite a lot of opportunities that are going around. But then it all goes back to your ability to actually track your progress, your ability to document, your ability to strategically pitch out what you're doing so that the right people find you in your network, because you're no longer competing with only Ugandans. Now it's a whole cruise, Nigeria, Kenya, it's the whole digitalization bit brings us all on the same plane. And one incredible tool for that I really recommend is LinkedIn, which I can't get to detail as per now. That's my time is fast spent. But what I can say is that I really hope that my presentation has been one that has enlightened us. That's the ways we can assess and quantify our impact, kickstarting with identifying KPIs, moving on to using evaluation forms to get actual quantitative and qualitative data that actually gives us the feedback that we need. And also as an individual looking into ways you can actually be able to progress and move beyond the status quo. So that's it from me. Thank you very much, the team, for the invite. It's been great presenting. It's been nice. Thank you very much. I pass the ball back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Oh my God, wow. This has been a very insightful presentation. I cannot even, I don't know, I feel like I shouldn't say anything after this presentation because this has been so wonderful, so exciting. I just want to say thank you so much. I see you were able to hint on so many things, but one of the best things that really stood out for me was sharing your story. I am part of G4G, and it's like a motto we use: share your story, because you do not know what your story will do to someone out there. Like when you share your story, someone is able to learn something, and you do not know the impact until someone else is out there telling you that, from your story I was able to learn this, from your story I was able to do this, this and this and this and this and that. So thank you so much, Edmond, for that. And then also you talked to what's progress, like measuring the progress that you've made till date. This is also another take home for me, and you mentioned that question, which was very, it's a wonderful question because it is a personal question. It happens that we do these programs in groups, and then at the end of it all, it narrows down to you, because when you're in a group, of course, it is bandwagon, but then at the end of it all, what have you gained from this program? How are you tracking? How something like that. So thank you so much, Edmond. I do not know if other people loved the presentation like I did, but it was a very wonderful presentation for me. And I know the questions must be coming in. I see Haruna had already asked a question, and you promised to address that after. And then also, I wanted to invite Mr. Igumire to say a vote of thanks to you, but thank you so much for the presentation. Igumire, are you there? Okay.
Thank you, moderator. I would want to suggest that the vote of thanks is given after the questions have been responded to.
Okay, that is okay. So I would love to open the Q&A session. Please feel free from what the guest speakers say, feel free to ask any question. Do not be shy. Put up your hand, ask the questions, learn some, say it, and don't be afraid. So starting with Haruna's question, I would love to invite the speaker to answer that.
All right, great. Let me just get into the chat. I saw that too. Okay, there's the first one. All right, it would be nice if you walked us into your laws as well as how you use them. Okay, great. So, all right, I read the Haruna's question. They've achieved a lot. Walk us through into the laws as well as how you've used them as a stepping point. All right, so for this, there've been low points. That's one thing for sure. But then something that I got to learn and appreciate that has really guided me all through is that if you take time to listen to people you look up to, your role models, your mentors, there's something you get to understand. And the fact you get to understand is that it's a process. They have been through a whole process of learning. They've been through a process where they've tried many things and have failed. And me, the best part I see about it is that in the end, when they come out of, because even right now, when you see them, they're still handling different issues, but then it becomes more of a journey to them that even when they're sharing, they look back and they laugh and they're like, can you believe there's this particular point when I was this broke, I wanted to do this, no one believed in me, but it happened. So me, that's something that I got to understand, and it really inspired me to the point that everything I was doing, I was like, there's a day that's going to reach, you think will have worked out. I'll just look back and laugh and I'll tell people that, this is how challenging it was. But the fact is it happened either at the end. So low points, I could say one, kickstarting, because I began on this journey in my Essex VAC. 2018 is when I was like seriously setting professional goals for my side. But then I'm still young, but then being at such an age and you're setting side goals for yourself, it can be daunting if you're in a group, because most times I believe lectures, I'm going for work, an appointment here. So there's that bit of resistance or pressure that can come in and can create low points. So the points that really used to affect me, and I'm like, I should actually be maybe in campus right now, but then I'm in someone's office waiting for the appointment, or I'm on a border heading to where to meet up with some big person. But then I think I got to appreciate about it is it all goes back to how you use your time and how you can be able to prioritize different things. So when I got to understand that, I became more deliberate with my time, and I got to really appreciate the journey I'm on. Plus, also financially, there have been points that have been constraining. Having to organize events, conferences. Usually we organize an annual conference as the secret initiative. So the very first time having to organize it, reaching to schools, pitching to them. Remember, I reached to like 18 schools. Most of them said no. Only 4 schools came through. The 4 that came through filled the room. We confirmed the venue 3 days to the venue, despite having advertised, because we thought, they're given us a yes, but it wasn't in formal writing. And we got to learn that if someone says a yes, they should put it in writing. So it's something that is slated somewhere. So there's been quite a lot. I can't get to all the detail, but something that has kept pushing me is that it's a process, it's a journey. And when you get to learn and appreciate that, you tend to really enjoy the process more, and it becomes less of the rewards. It becomes more of you growing and developing to become a better person, because at the end of it all, the rest comes automatically. The rest of it comes automatically because you've already paid the price. I think there was another question. Great, so I think I've answered that. And then, did you manage to evolve as a leader? Yeah, so I think the second also related, but Haruna, as I've said, I think given a glimpse, and then it goes back to you as an individual, because me when I said it also stand for a position in my career. It was more from the point of, I feel something need to change. I feel our approaches towards the labor markets are so traditional. Things have changed. Things are so drastic. People are getting jobs online. People are working on contracts. There are a lot of things that I felt needed to change in my circles. So I decided to stand for that position so that I could advocate for new training that can usher us hiring engineers to think better and to be more proactive towards our approach as we near the job market. Yeah, so that's something I've got to communicate, and still as part of the journey, I've been doing speaking a lot. So the communication bit came in a lot, campaigns and things in that area. Great. All right, I see a lot of, okay, that one from Haruna, given your experience, your influence and experience, especially Yali Regional Center, being a leader and many more, how are you using that chance to deliberate on pressing issues like that of climate of change? All right, great, good question. Now, all right, I'm just typing in here. So someone was asking for contact. All right, so, great, thank you for that question. So personally, I decided to narrow down on one problem, which I'm passionate about, because you can't solve all the problems in the world. Yeah, those are too many burdens for you. So anyway, me, the problem I narrowed down on is school to work transition or labor market transition. How I got to that, the talks I was doing in schools. And initially it was more about getting government sponsorship, but then when you get to realize people who graduated are not getting jobs, then you realize the problem isn't them not having the education, but then them having the right skills to ably acquire work and do different things. So then I changed most of my engagements to then skilling. I did trainings, public speaking, I design thinking, quite a lot of programs. So then the problem and I do this in capacity of as the CEO for the mentorship class, also other organizations I'm part of, and meets is the problem which I'm really so interested in. So even most of the engagements, even if you have to look on my platforms, they're around that area of school to work, stroke labor market. Great. I think those are all the questions, Melanie. I don't think I missed out. Someone else just, yeah, I think that's all. Back to you, dear moderator.
Thank you, Edmund. Thank you for clarifying this question. I do not know if we still have any questions. Please don't be shy, ask your question. But besides that, thank you for the presentation. Igumire, are you there?
Thank you very much, moderator.
Before,
And thank you too to Edmund. Okay, sorry, I thought you had given me a go ahead.
Apologies. I'm going to request Charles to first say something before you get back. Charles Amone.
Right.
Thank you, Melanie. I have some inquiry for which goes, I wanted to direct it to Edmond.
Okay.
Emmanuel asked a question before at the start of this program. And as we are just a startup, and he asked about social corporate responsibility. I would like to inquire from Mr. Edmond, how can we really talk, or how can we really bring this to reality, that when the big companies come in a community, they do some social responsibility work, they are recognized, but this small entity or are growing up, they can be doing some small social responsibility, but they are never recognized. How can we really make this community people to like see the small thing there, that social responsibility these small growing entities are doing to them?
All right, thank you. So what I understand is the question is how can a small entity work with the big organizations to do the CSR work, or how can it receive the recognition similar to the big entities? Just to clarify.
Yes.
Okay, all right, hope I got it right. Great, so something I realize is that you need to also look at it in this other perspective, in that one, you're not the only small entity going to them. If you wish to work with them, there are so many other entities that are going to reach out to them. And when you think of that more, it gives you this perspective that you need to work on your approach. Yeah. For example, I'll give you something I got to realize that most of also these entities, when they're getting to work with people, organizations, they do their background check. So if you're a small entity that has just started, automatically you may not have the traction that may give them the confidence that you can deliver on their end. You know, they may need to, most of them would want to first find out what have you done before, you know, because maybe you want them to fund an activity, but then you as the founders, in such a period of time, what have you funded into the organization yourselves? You know, what activities have you done? Most of them tend to look at that traction before they also look into coming on board. I tell you this because also on the side of the initiative, we got to collaborate with companies in the third year. After 3 years. So by the time we reached out to them, we were able to show them the work we had done. So it's that work that gave them confidence. So don't take it on you that they're not coming on board. It's a lot on the fact that one, there's a bit of traction they're looking at times, actually most times before coming on board, even leaving the legal issues. Most times it's, I think, traction from what I've seen. And then also you not being the only person reaching out to them means that you need to work on your approach better. And this is when things like telling your story come in, things like your presentation to them, things like how you approach them. I mean, everyone will approach with a letter, with a concept, but then have you taken time to interact with the person running the program? Have you taken time to, you know, discover their interests? You know, things have changed so much that yes, there's a formal aspect, but then your approach really needs to be smart in a way that it better identifies their needs as an organization or a company, because they have their vision, they have their needs, and it's from that point that you can be able to see how to best align. Yeah, so that would be my reaction to that, Charles. Thank you.
Thank you, Edmond. I hope it is okay with you, Charles. Without wasting time, I will invite Igumire right on. Igumire.
One and that I think we should take first before we give thanks.
Okay.
Yes, then the vote of thanks can come after Brian.
Okay,
thank you very
welcome,
much. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Sylvester. I think I just wanted to actually speak to the question that Charles raised. And I think that was the second time he was referring to it. I think, well, CSR is definitely something that all entities should have in mind at the end of the day. Now, the size differs, of course, based on the enterprise that you have and how big your entity is. So I think for starters, comparison may not be the best way to approach CSR. I think the best way to look at CSR is in your community where you are, how can you transform people's lives, or individuals, or someone, a Ugandan out there, be it just giving lessons or teaching them, or where you can do is creating a service that is able to support the community. So I think for me, the most key aspect is to look at what you as an entity can bring to your community, or how you can serve your community as you go ahead doing business. I know very many entities which have started small initiatives in their communities, be it COVID time and they were giving out food, or looking after some orphans here and there. However, they used this experience when it came to requesting for support from larger enterprises. So you have to look at the community you're in, think about what impact you can create, and do it from the goodness of the entity, not necessarily with hope that you're going to be recognized. Some of these things that people do are never recognized, but at one time, they're going to matter. We're going into an era where if you're looking at your enterprise growing and becoming big, you have to start looking at what social impact you're creating. There's a new concept called ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance. So it is an ethical requirement or some consideration that is looked at to see, is your business ethical? Does it recognize that it is situated in a social environment where you're looking after sustainable environment practices, impacting the society, looking at the employees that you have? What kind of employees are you? Is there equality? Is there inclusion? And all those aspects. And of course, from a governance, do you adhere to the standards, anti-corruption, anti-money laundering, and all that? So all those aspects that you have to put into your enterprise from the onset, and you do it slowly and it keeps growing. In the future, when you have an opportunity to work with these other entities, those are some of the motivations or some of the backgrounds that you can then show that you're actually a credible institution that can be worked with. In regards to recognition, you do not have to wait for another person to recognize you. I think we're in an era of social media. So there are so many avenues, so many platforms that you can use to talk about what you are doing. And it starts with you. It starts with you. At the end of the day, when you see MTN having all this noise, it is driven internally. So whatever you do, you have to be confident and happy enough to talk about it. It builds brand affinity, it builds brand health. So those aspects. So you have to consider different platforms that you can use to talk about what you are doing. And also based on that, you're recognized and seen by these other partners that you wish to work with. So Charles, I would say yes, CSR is very crucial, it's very, very important. It was not important in the past. It's becoming very crucial for this to be incorporated into your business strategy. But at the end of the day, driving recognition for it is also going to come from you initially. And as you work and partner with different communities and different partners, you're going to have a bigger impact and a bigger recognition over the time. So I just wanted to speak to that, Charles. I also wanted to, before Sylvester comes in, I wanted to really give a very huge thank you to the organizers of this. I think it has been well done. Thank you very much, our guest speaker. That was a wealth of information that has been shared, and I'm very sure it has been taken to heart by the team on how to improve themselves and their enterprises. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian Mbasa. We are very pleased to hear from you, and we are confident that Chelsea has really gotten it better. I'm going to request Igumire to come up.
Okay. Right. I feel like has been part is given by Brian. I want to also re-echo that Edmund, we can't be more grateful. You've done such a great job. Thank you for being available. coming on when you are called upon, being available for all the dry runs and preparing that presentation and having the patience to go through it. I'm very grateful for the participants who have kept their attention here for all this time, that we've even exceeded by almost 30 or 45 minutes. But I think it was worth it because the presentation you gave us was speaking directly to the topic, where we are not just looking at the benefit of the program, but the practical scientific methods that can be used to track the impact. And you used the ABC format, which was very, very good. I believe all of us picked from. Thank you. We look forward to doing with you in the future. We shall store your contact and we shall always reach out. You are a very good resource and we look forward to always benefiting from you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Igomire, and thank you to everyone that has come to join us for the webinar. Without wasting time, I'd love to call the meeting off and take the opportunity to appreciate all of you for coming. I hope you're not leaving the same way that you came. I'm just hoping that you learned something like I did. And I pray that you keep all the lessons and keep moving forward with them. Thank you for putting up, thank you MTN and Ubuni for putting up a wonderful webinar, and we are grateful. And to everyone that is coming, we are extremely